What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to bear the dreadful curse for my soul, to bear the dreadful curse for my soul.
Welcome, everyone, to the analysis of the Old Testament survey. Pastor Gavin is your host, and I am the special analyst, and this is going to be covering the book of Esther, following Pastor Gavin's discussion of the book of Esther. Tune into our episodes. They release every Sunday on my channels, the Boiling Point podcast channels, every Wednesday on Pastor Gavin's channels on YouTube, and just tune into them, share them out, leave us a comment. We'll be doing a live show in between the Old Testament and the New Testament, so look for that once we get there. And we're both wearing, little shout out, we're both wearing the Boiling Point podcast t-shirts. Pastor Gavin, could you show them the eagle? We both wearing the same ones, and the eagle's on the back. It's one of our newer designs. So go to the storefront. Thank you very much, Pastor. That worked out great. Visit our storefront and pick up one of these shirts for yourself. Rep the brand, and it'll help us continue to grow. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. There you go. Pastor Gavin showing off his muscles. You can be a bodybuilder, Pastor.
Yeah, I used to do bodybuilding.
Yeah, I know that about you. That's why I just said that. Yeah. Visit our storefront, share it out, help us grow the channel and stuff. So, Pastor Gavin, the book of Esther, I think it was pretty straightforward. Your coverage on it. So, just a couple of bullet points here. Is Mordecai the author? Because Mordecai is potentially one of the authors of the book.
The same guy mentioned. Yeah, Esther's uncle. Well, actually, her cousin, from what I understand, but she adopted him. I mean, he adopted her. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think some people would have definitely wanted to know about that. Now, this takes place in Iran or Persia at the time.
Yeah. Persia is the ancient name. Around 1935, my understanding is there was an Iranian who sort of let it be known to the world that they wanted to be called Iran rather than Persia.
And so they went through the name change. You said that was around 1935?
Yes.
During World War II, coincidentally.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, no. Just before World War II.
Before World War II.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I think I remember reading somewhere that Iran, that means land of the Aryans. So
that's kind of weird. But
I don't remember where I read that, but
but if that's right, that's interesting that they chose that name. So it takes place in Iran, and which was called Persia at the time.
Right. And the Persian Empire was, very significant. I mean, it went from, the Middle East to India.
Yeah.
And
then they tried to strike
it was quite extensive. So Iran was a major player in the world back then. And
and in Egypt. I mean, they extended all the way to Egypt, and they attempted to cross into Europe too. Now, I want to point this out to everybody. The king Xerxes, the Persian king Xerxes the First, is in fact the god king, who they refer to in the movie 300 with the Spartans, the 300 Spartans who defend against the Persian army. That is the same person. They're talking about the same empire that the Persians are conquering at that time. And a little history lesson for everybody. Give me 1 second. A little history lesson for everybody. He reigned from 486 to 465 BC until he was assassinated. And this is the Greeks were the last ones. He conquered every empire Xerxes sought to conquer. He did, except the movie that the 300, the Spartans, and obviously he didn't conquer the Jewish people, I don't think, right, Pastor?
Well, the Jews had already been conquered by the Babylonians.
Oh, by the Babylonians.
Yeah, so when he when he conquered when the Medes and Persians together conquered the Babylonians, the Jews were already living in Babylon and in Persia.
Okay, so there you go.
So
Okay, so they were. So
Yeah.
then Sparta was the only Greece. Greece was, and in the end, Sparta, because they conquered other civilizations, other kingdoms inside Greece. So then they were the only ones that were to hold out. It's the same Xerxes that's in the movie 300, and I just thought that was a pretty interesting point for people to know also.
Yeah. Yeah, and in Ezekiel 38 and 39, there's a prophecy that says is going to take place in the latter days, where a coalition of nations are going to join up and attack Israel. And so Persia is one of the nations mentioned. And,
Iran.
Yeah, right. So we see this alignment of nations like Russia and Iran and
Syria.
Yep, Turkey, and the northern African Islamic nations and so forth that are very anti-Israel right now. And so Ezekiel 38 and 39, which I believe is future, it's a lot. Things are lining up for the fulfillment of that.
Yeah.
Now this book really is.
Pastor, I'm sorry, I got to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Liam's in his room, and I think I just heard him get sick.
Okay.
You okay? Did you get sick? Okay, you just had burp? Okay. That's good. I know you get sick, buddy. Can you pee? Are you wet? And your hands wet? Okay. So let's get you potty first, okay? I'm sure the podcast with Pastor Gavin. I'm going to stop for a second. Okay.
Hello, Pastor.
You want to go say hi real fast?
Hi, Pastor.
Yeah, go over there and say hi.
Hi, Liam.
Say hi.
Hello, Liam. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Okay, come on, let's go potty. I love you too, buddy. Come on, let's get you in the potty. Let's go. He didn't get sick. It was just a burp that rattled the house. Okay, he's probably going to be in there for at least 15 or 20 minutes. So, all right, I'll count us back in, and then we can continue. Sorry I had to interrupt you so fast, but I really thought he was getting sick, and I didn't want him puking all over the floor. So I don't remember exactly where we were, but we'll just get back into it. All right. 3, 2. So, Pastor, in this book, there was also some anti-Semitism, and someone tried to, as we read, someone tried to exterminate the Jewish people.
Yeah. Yep. Haman, he not only did he want to kill Mordecai, but he wanted to kill all the Jews. And he was a corrupt government official that was using his political power to, try to exterminate the Jews.
And that's interesting how, it seems like the Jewish people have attempted to, people have tried to been exterminating them for many, different times throughout history. World War II comes to mind, with Hitler. So I thought that was interesting too, that it even happened, in Bible times, like when the Bible was being recorded and put together, that it happened during those times as well.
Yeah, and it surprises me how much anti-Semitism we see today.
Yeah, especially
Seems like
within our
it's
own
on the
country.
rise in America.
It is. It's quite astonishing too. I mean, when you read the Bible, I mean, even in the mid '90s or even in the early 2000s, when you read the Bible and you read parts of those parts of the scripture that we'll be getting to in later books, you wonder how countries won't be able to help Israel in their time of need, and how could America not be available to help Israel? And then you look outside and you're like, oh, well, this is a change.
Yeah. Well, in Revelation chapter 12, Israel's depicted as a woman with 12 stars on her head and the sun and the moon at her feet. And she's giving birth to a child who is to rule all nations with a rod of iron. So that child is Christ. So in other words, Jesus came from the nation of Israel,
Yeah.
from the Jewish people. And then in Revelation 12, there's a red dragon who is Satan, who's ready to devour the child as soon as it's born. And of course, Herod, tried to kill, the infant Christ when, at his birth. And it says that the dragon, who is Satan, hated the woman which brought forth a man-child and persecuted her. And, so Satan has a hatred for the Jewish people because God chose them to be his people, to reveal his word through them. And of course, Jesus came through the Jewish people. So there's a hatred that Satan has for the Jewish people. And, I think anti-Semitism is satanic.
Yeah, it is. I think so too. And it's also very, I mean, I don't know, it's just astonishing to me, how people could be, for the Palestinians, I guess, if you want to call them, and against Israel. And it's like, well, Israelis aren't blowing up. Well, they are blowing up, Palestinians right now, but they're not, they're targeting where their weapon caches are. Nobody's talking about how the Palestinians are storing their weapons and storing, putting their bases in hospitals or near residential areas.
Schools.
No one cares. Yeah, no one cares about that part of it. It's the Israelis shouldn't be doing it. Well, how about the people who are actually doing, the people who are kidnapping people now, from other nations, including Americans, and hiding in these locations? Why, there's no outcry for them. There's no outrage for them. It's all on Israel. So it's really quite astonishing, especially the news coverage on it has really been one-sided.
Yeah, in recent years, I've heard some really strange anti-Semitic theories. Some of them say that, like, all the really evil things in the world, the Jews are in charge of it all. And, of course, I'm sure there's some rotten Jews, but there's some rotten Gentiles as well. I mean, evilness and rottenness goes, people of all different sizes and shapes can be rotten,
Yeah, exactly.
And there's this weird theory, it's called the Khazarian theory of the origin of the Ashkenazi Jews. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this or not, but
I definitely have not.
Okay, there are different kinds of Jews. So there are the I think you call it the Sephardic Jews, who were from they inhabited Spain and the Iberian Peninsula. But then there are the Ashkenazi Jews that were in Germany and Eastern Europe and in Russia. And so these Ashkenazi Jews, there's a theory that says that they're not really Jews. They're Khazars. And see, back in I'm thinking it was like around 800 AD, somewhere around that. I'm talking general time period. Some of the Turkish tribes got together and united and formed the Khazarian kingdom, or the Khazars. And there's a story that's told, whether it's true or not. Some of it might be true, but supposedly the king of the Khazars wanted a religion to unite his people. So he tried, my understanding is he invited, a Jewish rabbi and like Roman Catholics and then Muslims, and he rejected Christianity, which was Catholicism, and and he also, rejected Islam, but he decided to go with Judaism. So he supposedly converted to Judaism, and so did his whole kingdom. Well, maybe he did, but just because a king converts to a certain religion doesn't mean the whole kingdom does.
Yeah.
And so then, as this theory goes, these Khazars migrated to different places, and that's really where the Ashkenazi Jews came from. So most of the Jews in Israel are just fake Jews. They're not really Jews at all. That's how this theory goes.
Yeah.
But there really is no evidence to prove that. This conversion of their king may be true. There's some ancient writings that seem to maybe affirm that happened. But there's in the Jews have this language called Yiddish, and it's like my understanding, it's like German, but they write it in Hebrew, and but this Yiddish language that the Jews speak, it doesn't have any Turkish words in it. And in the customs and beliefs of the Jews, there are no Turkish customs, no Turkish words in their language. Well, if they were originally Turks, why is that the case? It's just the theory is not true.
Yeah.
And there are different videos on YouTube that adequately debunk it. They came from Germany, and they spread to Eastern Europe and then to Russia. They are really Jews, but even if they are really Khazars and descendants from the Khazars, you can become a Jew by converting to Judaism and mixing with the Jewish people.
Yeah.
And in fact, in the book of Esther, let me read to you this interesting verse in the book of Esther here. Whenever they saw that the Jews were winning, it says, in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land, that's the Persians, became Jews. So how did they become Jews? Well, they accepted the Jewish religion. They turned to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they converted to Judaism. They became a part of the Jewish people. They became Jews. And there are two other examples of that. Ruth was from Moab. She was a Moabitess. When she chose the true and living God and wanted to identify with the people of God and became a part of them, she was a Jewess. So much that she was an ancestress of King David. The same is true of Rahab the harlot. Rahab was in Jericho. She was a Canaanite. And when the Jewish people came, the people of Israel came, she said, I know that your God has given you this land. And she believed in the Lord. And she said, when you come and take this city, please spare me and my family. And she and her family became Israelites. And she became an ancestress of King David as well. So even if you're not Jewish by birth or race, if you convert to the Judaism, the true and living God, then you mix in with the Jewish people. You're Jewish.
Yeah.
So the Ashkenazi Jews,
they're Jews anyway.
They are. But I'm just saying, even if they were not really Jews ethnically, they are now.
Yeah.
So anyway, that Khazarian theory, it's just, as far as I'm concerned, it's a false anti-Semitic theory. It's not. It doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is going to conclude our analysis of the Book of Esther. Make sure you look for us every Sunday. These series released every Sunday on the Boiling Point podcast channels. every Wednesday night on Pastor Gavin's channels. Make sure you look for the after show, which is available right now on Pastor Gavin's channel, even if it's Sunday. So please give it a watch, leave us a comment, share it out, look for our live episode in a few weeks. And we also will have more episodes coming in between these series. And we got another series coming, or maybe it's already released with Pastor Gavin. So big things for this year for the Boiling Point podcast. Stay tuned. So for our analysis, Pastor Gavin, the host, thank you for your time, Pastor. That is the end.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul? What wondrous love is this, oh my soul? What wondrous love is this? Here comes the Lord of bliss to bear the dread